So this story is about a young lady named Zina, short for Zinachi, but please do not call her that. She hated anything that sounded local. She was a proud Gen Z wife, a 22 years old, married to a calm, soft-spoken Igbo man named Nonso, who worked as a banker in Lagos. From the moment that Zina got pregnant, she did not see it as expecting a baby or growing a life. Instead, she saw it as pregnancy content. During her first trimester, she would always post more than 6 times in the morning. Hi guys, I just threw up 6 times this morning, but I still managed to slay these lashes. Hashtag preggy but pretty. She was a social media addict. And things continued like this all through her 3 trimesters. Zina would literally wear crop tops that would boldly expose her baby bump. Then she would pair it with bomb shorts and finish it off with her husband's oversized sneakers, all in the name of street style maternity fashion. She would even stand in front of her neighbor's car and pose and take pictures because it was finer than their own. Zina was uploading more than 15 pictures every blessed day. She had over 18,000 Instagram followers. Even when she went for antenatal, to her, everything was content. She saw every single thing as a content creation opportunity. She would tell her husband, no, please help me and hold this phone now. Let me do slow motion as I walk into the hospital with this beautiful maternity kimono. Zina would say, beaming excitedly. Nonso, her husband, was already tired of her. Zina, Kwano, stop all this now. Are you not tired of snapping pictures every day? Nonso would say, but Zina did not care. As far as she was concerned, her pregnancy was all about content creation. Zina documented every single thing, even when she had mood swings. Unlike other women who would deal with it privately, Zina would come live crying on Instagram because her Indomie was too soft. The next minute, you'll see her dancing to TikTok trends, shaking her belly like jollof rice. And her followers loved it. Zina had already done several maternity shoots. Nonso was sick and tired of all of this. Zina, how many maternity shoots would you do? Is it not just one child that we're expecting? This is your 7th maternity shoot, for crying out loud. The photographer even knows our house address by heart by this time. Bikonu, stop this. You are attracting unnecessary attention to our child. Instead of you to take out time to pray for the day you will go into labor, that everything will go on fine. Other people will hide their own pregnancies and they would only come out after they have given birth. But your own case is different. From day one, hi guys, hi, please now, what is all this? Nonso would say, looking very angry. But Zina would simply flip her 30-inch wig and then say, my dear, I am carrying a child. As a married woman, I am not pregnant out of wedlock. So there is nothing to hide. Besides, what do you want me to do? I should be tying wrapper and be sweating in the kitchen and be looking like your mother, be? So that you start pushing all those small girls. I beg, please let me hear what. Zina replied looking upset. Nobody is saying you should go around tying wrapper. But what I'm saying is stop exposing our unborn child. You're doing too much on social media. It is too much. It's not necessary. Now, at least give birth to her first. It's not wise. Nonso responded, looking frustrated. But Zina simply replied and said, abeg, Oga, shift or make yourself useful and help me turn on the ring lights. I want to do a transition video from pregnancy to when I have my baby. So I need to do that transition video now. So if you're not going to help me turn on the ring light, abeg, just be going. Zina replied. So things continued like this in their home. And Zina even went ahead and threw the biggest baby shower, stating that her baby must enter the world in luxury. We don't do basic in this house, Zina said proudly. But the real madness began on the day of delivery. Zina refused to push until her makeup was done. Even while she was in pain and active labor, this girl brought a makeup artist to the hospital to make her up before giving birth. Hmm. The nurse was busy screaming, Madam, Madam, leave that thing and push. You're already 10 centimeters dilated. Push, oh, your baby is coming. The nurse screamed angrily. She had never seen something like this before. But Zina responded and said, Please now, just give me 5 minutes, nurse. I haven't applied my lip gloss yet. This labor vlog must give luxury, luxury. So Zina made sure that she was fully made up before she allowed them wheel her into the labor room. And even while they were wheeling her into the labor room, she was busy filming herself and saying, I'm going to deliver like a queen from bump to baby in one push. Wish me luck, guys. Zina was crazy. She was too addicted to social media. But a few minutes later, and Zina gave birth to a healthy, beautiful baby girl. Nonso was so happy. He cried tears of joy. But before he could even name the child, Zina had already started posting online. Welcome to the world, Princess Zendaya Dior, Gen Z baby, my mini bestie. At this point, Nonso was confused. He just stared at his wife and said, Chiri, Chiri, wait. What did you just call our daughter? Princess what? Zendaya. What is that? Nonso asked, getting upset. But Zina replied proudly and said, her name is Zendaya Dior. You know, she has to have a name that is giving royal vibes, princess vibes. Zina replied proudly, Zina, what is wrong with you? I thought we agreed on Chimamanda. What is your problem? Which one is Zendaya? I can't even pronounce the name. Nonso replied. But Zina looked horrified and then said, Chimamanda ke. Inokwa, for this my soft life baby girl that came with soft skin and is so pretty. You want to name her a name that sounds like she should be carrying firewood in the village. I beg oh, please don't even spoil my vibe. My baby is giving influencer energy, not village vibes, Biko. Which one is Chimamanda? Chimamanda. God forbid. My daughter's name is Zendaya Dior. So get that into your skull. Zina replied proudly. At this point, Nonso just gave up. He loved his wife so much and never wanted to make her unhappy. So he literally allowed her win every argument. What mattered to him was that his daughter's birth certificate carried the name Chimamanda. So whatever his wife wanted to call her online was none of his business. So my dear friends, that was how Zina's baby was technically named twice. Once in the hospital register as Chimamanda and once on Instagram as Princess Zendaya Dior. So from that moment, Zina no longer saw her baby as just a child. Her baby was a brand that she had to build. And the world was about to witness a level of Gen Z parenting that would leave the whole neighborhood screaming. The first week after birth, most new mothers would usually be resting, breastfeeding, and adjusting to their new life as a mother. But not Zina. As soon as Zina came back home from the hospital, the first thing that she did was to unbox a ring light. She did not think of bringing out diapers or wipes or anything. No, it was ring lights. Nonso, Nonso, please come and help me set this thing. Baby Zendaya and I have a newborn glam shoot by 4 p.m. Zina called out to her husband excitedly. Shoot, K. Which one is shoot again? But she's only 4 days old now. Won't you allow this girl rest? Nonso asked, looking frustrated. And so, even if she's 3 days old, Uncle, what of Rihanna's baby? Was she not already trending by day 3? My own baby cannot carry last though. My baby is a Gen Z baby, I beg. Please just do what I say you should do. Zina replied excitedly. She had bought 10 outfits already for the first shoot. She bought 4 jackets, tutu skirts, a fake baby iPhone, and a shiny rubber makeup kit with toy lipstick, blush, and plastic brushes. She had even bought 2 tiny baby wigs. One was curly and the other one was bone straight. Zendaya, at just 4 days old, already had bone straight. She would place them on her head and use pink clips to style the hair, while the poor baby would be looking confused like, what is all this? What have I done? What kind of mother is this? But things continued like this for a while. Zina would make matching frontal wig for her daughter, and they would even wear the same matching outfit, same color, same wig, same handbag. Every single thing was to match. And everywhere they went, people stared. But Zina did not care. Instead, she would just smile and whisper to her baby and say, "My dear, let them stare. They are looking at greatness, baby girl. You are a celebrity baby and you deserve every single thing." But Zina did not stop there. She did not stop at just dressing her baby with wig and, wearing matching outfits. Instead, she went ahead and created an Instagram account for baby Zendaya, where she flooded several of the pictures that she had taken of her baby. The Instagram account literally gained over 10,000 followers in just 2 days. Zina was proud. She started uploading "Get Ready with Me" baby videos where she would apply adult brown powder to her baby's face with a fluffy brush, and she would wrap her child in expensive looking clothes. Sometimes she would even go as far as using Snapchat filters that would give her baby full lashes, red lipsticks, and blush on her cheeks. Then she would even turn to her baby Zendaya and say hi to your friends. But instead, Zendaya would sneeze because the adult brown powder and perfume that her mother had sprayed on her made her very uncomfortable. But Zina could not see that her baby was uncomfortable. Instead, she would giggle and say, "Oh, such a cute response from my influencer baby. She's sneezing with style." Zina was literally going mad, social media mad. But a few days later, and her mother-in-law arrived because her own mother was dead. When Mama Nonso arrived at their home, she was shocked to see baby Zendaya wearing an adult wig and dressed so uncomfortably like a celebrity. Or Ginina Fieba. "Zina, what is happening here? What is this baby wearing?" Mama Nonso asked, looking upset. But Zina simply flipped her hair proudly and said, "Well, Mom, it's called infant couture. Mommy, this one is the baby rich auntie collection." Zina responded proudly. "Rich Kwa, this baby is not even up to 2 months old, and yet you've turned her into something else. What kind of madness is this? Are you okay at all?" Mama also replied, looking upset. "Mama, she's a star and needs to look like one. This is the kind of exposure that children need these days. This is the 21st century. So I actually need to groom her for her future. So please, take it easy." Zina replied proudly. Mama Nonsho was shocked to her bone marrow. She turned to her son Nonso and said, "My son, is this how you're leading your family? When your mates are using oil and Bible to bless their babies, your own baby is wearing eyelashes, lipstick, wig. What is wrong with you?" Mama Nonso asked angrily. But Nonso simply replied and said, "Mama, I'm tired. I've talked and talked to my wife, but she does not listen to me. So I've let her be. As far as my daughter is not hot, I don't care what she does. Because me, I'm tired of talking, saying the same thing every single day." Nonso replied sadly. But Zina did not stop. Even the presence of her mother-in-law could not make her stop. She continued with her mother and daughter matching wears and kept on posting on Instagram. And soon she started getting a lot of brand deals, from organic baby soap sellers to clothes to baby food and the rest. Zina was so excited. Noso, on the other hand, was frustrated. His mother was very upset with Zina as to how she was raising her granddaughter, so she was always quarreling with his wife all the time. But Zina put her foot down, saying, "Mama, this is my baby. You have raised your own in peace. So please allow me to raise my own the way I choose to. This is the 21st century now. How can you be raising a child in this day and time in the same way you raised a child in the 20th century? Ha, no, Mama, this is Gen Z, Biko." Zina would say, looking upset. So after a while, Mama Nonso could not take it any longer. She could not bear to see what Zina was doing to her granddaughter. So she just packed up her bags and left her son's house out of annoyance. Meanwhile, baby Zendaya continued to wear wig every day at home. By this time, her neighbors had started complaining. One day, Auntie Ngozi, an older woman who had come to visit and just see how Zina was faring with the child. But when she saw how Zendaya was glammed up with wig and makeup, she turned to Zina and said, Zina, what are you doing? What are you doing? Must your baby wear wig every single time? Auntie Ngozi asked, looking very worried. Yes, so Auntie, she has to. It is for content. See, Auntie, you will not understand. My baby is a digital baby, an influencer, an ambassador. So she needs to be content ready at any point of the day. Zina said proudly. Well, this your digital baby kept me up last night with ring lights flashing through my window. Please, next time, reduce the brightness. Besides, Zina, she's just a baby, Kwanu. Allow this girl to be a baby and do not steal her childhood from her. She's supposed to be in pampers and free and playing with toys. Yet here you're suffocating the poor girl with heavy makeup and wig. It's not even safe for her skin. For crying out loud, she will still have time to do all of this when she grows up. There's literally plenty of time for all of this nonsense. Auntie Ngozi replied sarcastically. But Zina did not hear word. She continued doing what she was doing. To her, Zendaya was not just a baby. She was her content partner, her bestie, her brand ambassador. And nothing, I mean absolutely nothing, was going to stop her. Not even when Zendaya developed a small rash on her cheek. And so, by the time baby Zendaya turned 3 months old, she had more Instagram followers than even Zina's own husband. Princess Zendaya, Dior's page had blown up. She now had over 20,000 followers. Three baby soap brands were in her DM. One fancy Lagos boutique were offering a mother and daughter sleigh package every month, matching clothes, matching turbans, and even matching bonnets for sleeping. Zina was excited. This was what she was looking for. This was the kind of life that she wanted. And things continued like this for a while. One day, her husband Nonso came back from work, was looking so tired. And then his wife turned to him and said, babe, I think Zendaya needs to start wearing corsets. Her stomach is getting too big. Oh. Zina said, looking serious. It's like he drank something this morning. Corset K. How can a baby wear corsets? See, let me warn you. You can go ahead with all your other madness, but do not wear my daughter any corset. If not, you will see the other side of me. Nonso replied, looking upset. But there's nothing wrong with corset now, It's just for tummy control. You know, as a baby girl, as a brand ambassador, as a slay girl, Gen Z girl, she needs to, as in, wear the corset now so her stomach doesn't get too big. Before she clocks one, she needs to always look snatched. Zina replied sadly. But Nonso was tired. He was not having this conversation. He just dropped his bag and walked straight to the fridge, hoping to get food and warm. But lo and behold, there was no food. Only milk in stylish baby bottles and one leftover smoothie that was called Detox for Mama Z. Nonso was frustrated. He had no choice than to go and drink cereal. He had no strength to start arguing with his wife Zina why she had not prepared any food for him. Because of course, if he started the argument, she would simply say, I've been busy all day. And then she would start crying and trying to emotionally blackmail him. So he did not even bother raising the topic with her. Then one morning, Zina and her baby Zendaya went live for their fans. Then she applied baby oil, shea butter, Vaseline, and even her own adult face serum on her baby. And a few days after, Zendaya's face broke out. There were tiny red bumps all over her face. Zina panicked. She was scared. But instead of rushing her to the hospital, she quickly ran to Instagram and asked her followers for a solution, saying, Mommy's in the house, please help me. My baby's skin is rejecting her glow serum. Should I try the turmeric one? Zina asked. But people started bashing her and commenting things like, Ma, your baby is too young for all that nonsense. Please leave that baby alone. The comments were pouring in and they were lambasting Zina. But yet, Zina did not hear word. She thought that they were just haters trying to stop her daughter's shine. At some point, even her pastor's wife called her and advised her saying, Zina, please allow your daughter to breathe. She's too little for all this nonsense, her pastor's wife said, looking very worried. But Zina was not moved. She did not care. And as usual, she did not listen to her pastor's wife because she knew better than everybody. By now, even her neighbors were tired and very worried for the poor baby. Then one morning, the worst happened. Zina had set up the ring light to do a mommy and me content with her daughter as usual. Then she applied the latest makeup collection that she had just bought for herself, which was very expensive. It was a setting powder. So she applied it on Zendaya's face. And a few minutes after that, Zendaya started shaking and convulsing. And immediately she had to rush her to the hospital. The hospital was so tense. Zina sat down in the waiting room. She was so scared. She was afraid that something bad would happen to her baby. Meanwhile, her husband Nonso was busy pacing around the corridor like a madman. The doctors had taken Zendaya in and they were trying to treat her. And Zina just kept on crying and crying. It's my fault. It's my fault. I should not have used that powder on her face. I thought it was non-toxic. The label on the powder said gentle for all ages. What have I done? Please, Lord, do not let anything happen to my baby. Zina said as she wept uncontrollably. Nonso just looked at her. He was so angry that he could not even say a word. Then an hour later, the doctor came out and then looked at Zina and said, she's stable now, but your baby had a very severe allergic reaction to the makeup products that you use on her face. Yes, we are able to manage it, but you're very lucky that you brought her early. If not, she might not be here by now, the doctor said. Then Zina fell to her knees and began crying loudly. Oh God, please forgive me. I was just trying to be a cool mom. I did not mean to harm my baby. I was just preparing my baby for her future as a slave Gen Z. God, please, Zina said, crying. Then the doctor looked at her coldly and said, next time, try being a responsible mom instead of a cool mom. So after a while, they got back home. Immediately they went back home. Nonso picked up the phone and dialed his mother. Mama, please come back to Lagos. It is urgent. This girl is going to kill my baby. Zina is going to kill my baby. I don't trust my baby with my wife any longer. Mama, please come back. Nonso said, looking scared. And so, a few hours later, Mama Nonso arrived with a bag full of prayer books, olive oil, anointing water, and plenty wahala. The moment she entered the house and saw baby Zendaya in the cot, still recovering from what her mother had done to her, she now turned to Zina and said, Holy Ghost fire! Zina, Holy Ghost fire! What have you done to my innocent grandchild? Mama Nonso said, looking ready for war. Then Zina broke down and started crying again and said, Mommy, it was a mistake. I didn't know. Of course, I will not put my baby in harm's way on purpose. Please, I did not know. Zina said, crying. You did not know what? You did not know what? What is wrong with you? Don't you have a brain? Is it everything that you try out on a newborn baby? Are you okay? Mama Noso screamed out angrily. And for the first time ever, a Gen Z body like Zina did not have anything to say to her mother-in-law. No slang, no comeback, nothing. She was just quiet and ashamed of herself. That night, Mama Nonso did not allow Zina to sleep. Oh. She made her kneel down in the sitting room and she led a 3-hour prayer session, which she titled Destroying Every Spirit of Internet Foolishness. Zina knelt down and sobbed throughout the whole prayer session. She watched as her mother-in-law kept on singing, Holy Ghost take over, Holy Ghost take over, Holy Ghost take over, as she sprinkled anointing oil on her ring lights and her baby wig collection. So the next day, Mama Nonso packed up all of Zendaya's baby makeup, lace frontals, designer sunglasses, wigs, make every single thing, and burnt them in front of their house. Zina could not even protest. She was too scared at the thought that she could have lost her daughter to her foolishness and madness. Zina just sat quietly in the parlor, wearing her normal wrapper. And for the first time in a long time, she looked normal. No lashes, no makeup, no ring lights, just Zina, just herself. She apologized to her baby over and over again, saying, I'm sorry, baby, I'm so sorry. Mommy thought she was doing the right thing for you. I just wanted you to be different. But I forgot what you needed most was my love and affection, was just to be a baby, to be yourself. I'm so sorry, Zina said sadly. And so from that day, Zina began to breastfeed her baby directly and not from bottles any longer. Zina had become a changed mother. Zina hadn't even posted on Instagram for more than 1 week. For someone that once said, I cannot breathe if I'm not online, this was a really big deal. A lot of people became worried for her and started sending her DMs, asking her if she was okay. But Zina did not respond. All she wanted to do was just to sit with her baby all day. She even stopped calling her baby Zendaya, Dior, and started calling her the name that her father had named her, which was Chimamanda. Chimamanda now looked like a normal baby that was happy, and she played with toys, not wigs or red lipstick. Then one day, Zina set up her ring light again. But this time, she did not look like a Gen Z baddie or a slay mama. She came just as herself, Zina. No makeup, nothing, just bare face. Then she said, Hi everyone, it's Zina. I want to apologize. I've made some really foolish decisions. I thought I was trying to be a cool mom, but I forgot that my baby is just a baby. I let the likes blind me. I endangered my daughter and I'm ashamed. To every young mom that has been following me and felt some sort of pressure and that is watching this right now, please do not follow my footsteps. I was so foolish. I was so foolish by wearing my daughter wigs, makeup, and trying to make her an adult, even when she's just a baby. Please let your babies be babies. Do not steal their childhood from them. And to my daughter, my husband, my mother in law, my family, I'm so sorry. I never meant to choose content over having common sense. So from now on, I will choose my child, the health and well-being of my child over clouds. And one more thing, I would like to correct the impression that some of you have. Her name is not Zendaya Dior. That was just a name I took because it sounded nice. But her name is Chimamanda. And so from now on, I will be calling her Chimamanda, Zina said as she ended the video in tears. And this particular video went very viral. People were commenting on her page, saying things like, finally, you have earned our respect. This is growth. This is what we want to see. Realness, not fake life. Even her husband and mother-in-law were impressed with her. Zina went ahead and deleted Zendaya's Instagram page that was filled with lots of madness. And now she bought rattles, cloth books, diapers, and normal toys for her baby. And for once, motherhood felt real for her. It was messy, it was loud, it was beautiful. And funny enough, people now even liked her more now that she was real. And in no time, brands began to reach out to her. A particular brand messaged her, telling her that they would like her to join their Let Kids Be Kids campaign. Zina was so happy. Now her life was normal. She would even back her baby on her back with wrapper, something that Zina could never do before. And she would even proudly refer to herself as Mama Chimamanda. And in no time, she started getting several invitations to speak at Young Mothers Conference. She continued to post on Instagram quite alright, but now she posted real life situations, like her daughter getting messy while eating or while playing with her dolls. Zina was so happy. She now received more brand deals now than when she was living a fake life. And her husband and mother-in-law were so proud of her. They were proud of the woman that she had grown into. And they all lived happily ever after. Hi besties, it's your favorite storyteller on Malicha. Thank you so much for watching my story to the end. So I'd like to hear your thoughts as usual. So I would like to hear, what do you think of Zina, the Gen Z baddie, the slay mama, the Gen Z mommy? Have you ever met someone like Zina? Yes, I know online I've seen some parents, some mothers fixing frontal wigs on their 1-year-old child for birthdays and all that. To me, that's absolute nonsense. Is this something that you think you can do? Like fixing nails for your daughter, fixing wig on your daughter that is barely a toddler? Also, what do you think of Nonso as a father? Do you think he was too docile, too calm? Like, how can your wife be doing all that for your daughter and you know it doesn't sit well with you and you just keep quiet because you do not want to hurt your wife? Don't you think that is irresponsible of Nonso? Please share your thoughts with me in the comment section and please support your home girl on Malicha by subscribing to my channel, liking my videos, and sharing with your loved ones. So now, till I come your way again with more interesting stories, bye! Many years ago, in the beautiful fishing village of Kinyansini in Zanzibar, there lived a young lady named Salma. Salma was just 20 years old, but she was so beautiful. Her skin was soft like sea breeze. Her voice was gentle, and she always smiled at everyone. She was well-mannered, respectful, and the pride of her parents. Salma had a boyfriend whose name was Jabari. Jabari was a simple village boy that had also grown up with her. He was 24 years old but was very hardworking and focused and was deeply in love with Salma. And even though he was a mere fisherman and didn't earn so much, he made sure to bring Salma fresh fish every single evening. And he made sure to save money, no matter how little, from what he earned to build a future with her. He would usually look at her and say, Salma, yes, I may not have a car or big money, but I have love. I love you so much, and I will never leave you. I will take very good care of you if you agree to be my wife. Jabari would say very lovingly, and Salma would always blush when he said that. She would hold his hand tightly and reply and say, even if a prince comes from the town, I will still choose you. You're the love of my life, and I want to spend the rest of my life with you. Salma would reply, everyone in the village believed that they would get married. Even their parents had accepted their relationship. Jabari was already saving little by little so that he would have enough money to pay her bride price in 2 years. Everything was going on just fine until one day Daniel came. Daniel was a US tourist. He had arrived the village to spend summer. He had blue eyes, white skin, and golden hair. And he wore expensive sunglasses, sprayed sweet perfumes, and dressed like those men in foreign movies. He was also very calm, gentle, and polite. But what made people respect him most was the fact that he had a lot of money. By the time Daniel would convert his American dollars into Tanzanian shillings, he would have so much money that he could even buy things without bargaining. One day, he came to Salma's jewelry stand and bought all her necklaces without even asking for a discount. Salma was shocked. And on top of that, oh, he told her to keep the change. And from that moment, Salma was attracted to him. Daniel still came back the next day and the day after. And this time, he even came with gifts, body lotions, chocolates, clothes, and things that he had brought from the US. And he still gave her money on top. He told her that she was very beautiful, special, and that she deserved so much more than staying in a mere village. So he began to promise her a better life in the US, telling her that she would get a green card and be living like a queen in the US. And soon enough, Salma bought his dreams. She began to change. She stopped meeting Jabari at the beach. She literally started avoiding her longtime boyfriend. She stopped replying to his text messages and she even started dressing differently, using foreign perfumes and applying light makeup, things that Daniel had given her. Jabari noticed and became very worried. Salma, what is going on? You've been behaving very strangely. Did I do something wrong? Did I offend you? Jabari asked, his eyes filled with tears. Oh no, nothing. You did not do anything. I just want more out of this life. I'm tired of being a village girl. Is that too much to ask? Salma replied coldly as she walked away. So things continued like this for a while. So Salma continued to avoid the love of her life, Jabari, and then began to spend more time with the foreign tourist, Daniel. And it was only a matter of time for rumors to begin to spread. The villagers began to whisper, that girl is following that white man. Oh. The villagers said amongst themselves. One day, Mama Shida, her mother's friend, called Salma to advise her and said, Salma, you need to be careful. Tourists would come and would go, but your own man is here. Do not leave gold and chase silver. A bird in hand is better than two in the bush. Mama Shilda said, looking very worried. But Salma simply replied her and said, thank you, Mama, for the advice. But Salma did not listen. Instead, she continued to spend all her time with Daniel. One evening, Daniel took her to a fancy resort by the sea. They sat by the poolside and he told her stories about America and how she would enjoy life over there if she followed him. He promised to take her to the US and give her a much more better life. Selma would smile excitedly. Her head was being filled with hopes and dreams. So after Daniel was done brainwashing her, Selma fell head over heels in love with him. But as time went by, Daniel started asking her to sleep with him. Initially, she refused because she had been keeping her virginity for her husband to be, which at that time was Jamari. But a few days later, after refusing to give in to Daniel's advances, then Daniel stopped visiting her stall and started hanging out with other ladies who were throwing themselves at him for free. Selma became very jealous and very worried. She did not want to lose Daniel or lose her chances at having a better life in the US. She wanted to escape her small village. She wanted to see the world. She wanted to experience all that Daniel had told her about the United States. So she knew that she had to act fast. So that night, she went to his lodge and she gave him her virginity, all in a bid to win his love and affection back. The next morning, she looked at herself in the mirror happily and then said, Salma, my life is about to change for good. I have given Daniel something priceless that all these other loose ladies cannot give him. Now Daniel is mine forever. Salma said to herself excitedly. She was so happy. She was convinced that she had found true love. And it worked because Daniel was now all over her just like before. He stopped chasing all these other small girls that were throwing themselves at him. So as the days went by, her relationship with Jabari deteriorated. She ignored him completely. Even her own mother no longer welcomed Jabari into their home any longer because of Daniel and all the hopes and dreams that he had filled Salma's head with. Salma's mother had even started daydreaming of how she would go and be visiting her daughter in the US. So she encouraged her daughter to leave Jabari for good. One evening, Jabari had gone to visit Salma in their home. But to his surprise, Salma's mother warned him never to come back to their house again, saying, Salma is no longer on your level. Please leave my daughter alone. She has a better life now. There are 1001 ladies that will be willing to accept you in your state. Please and please leave my daughter alone. Salma's mother would scream angrily at Jabari. Jabari was broken and even started crying. He could not understand how everything had changed so suddenly. The girl who once held his hand and promised to wait for him and had even told him that even if a prince came into their village, that she would still stay by him, was now acting like a total stranger. And her mother, that he had bought gifts for times without number, was now being very hostile to him. So things continued like this for a while. Salma was busy enjoying her Americana love, spending time with him and making him happy, while her boyfriend Jabari was broken and sad. Then one day, out of the blues, Daniel disappeared. Samuel went to the hotel where he had been staying, only to find out that he had checked out and flown back to the US. No goodbyes, no letter, no explanation, no final words, nothing. Salma was so broken. She cried for days. She even refused to eat. She would just sit on her bed holding the necklace that he had given her, hoping that he would call or return. But weeks passed and nothing happened. Then one day, all of a sudden, Selma started vomiting. She felt very weak, dizzy, and confused. She realized that she had just missed her period. So, out of fear, she went to visit Mama Asha, the old herbalist in the village, who confirmed her worst fears. Selma, my daughter, you are pregnant. Mama Asha said to her kindly. Selma fell to the ground and screamed and screamed. Everything that she once had, her good name, her dreams, her respect, everything had disappeared into thin air. Selma cried non-stop. A few weeks later, and she had started vomiting non-stop. And her parents found out that she was pregnant. They were so angry, shocked, and disappointed. The first few months of her pregnancy, Salma hid herself in her home, refusing to go out. But she could not hide herself forever. And soon, the entire village found out that Salma was pregnant and they mocked her. Even the little children pointed at her stomach and laughed. The same villagers that used to praise her for her beauty were now calling her different names. Even Jabari could not even look at her. He was disappointed. Salma had become the shame of Kinyasini. And still, Daniel had not called her since he fled Zanzibar. She no longer walked with confidence, and when she passed through the village, women would shake their heads. The same young girls that were envying her that she was using foreign perfumes, they would point at her and laugh hysterically. She could not even sit among her mates any longer. She avoided the beach, the market, and even her mother's eyes. Her father barely spoke to her. And sometimes, in the middle of the night, Salma would go outside and just sit down, rubbing her stomach and speaking to herself. Daniel, where are you? Daniel, why did you do this to me? This is not what you promised me. You promised me heaven. You said you loved me. Why did you leave me like this? I've become a shame to my whole village, to my parents. Salma would say as she cried. She literally cried herself to sleep every night. And for the next 5 months, things continued like this for Salma. Her belly had grown very big. Her waist bead was no longer even her size. And her smile had completely disappeared. But one Sunday afternoon, something happened. A beautiful car drove into their compound, and a tall, fair-skinned man with blue eyes stepped out. It was Daniel. Daniel was back, and he did not come back empty-handed. He came back with gifts and with smile plastered all over his face, as if he had not done anything wrong. Then he looked at Salma and said, I came back for you. I heard from the hotel staff that you were pregnant with my child, and I had to come back for you. Daniel said, smiling. Salma was shocked, she was happy, yet she was upset at the same time. She did not know whether to cry for joy or to scream at him angrily for abandoning her for months. But regardless of how she felt, she ran into his arms and hugged him tightly. Her parents were also happy because Daniel returning for their daughter meant that he had come to wipe away the shame that Salma's pregnancy had brought to their family. So later that evening, Daniel sat down with Salma's parents and said, I want to take her with me to the US. She's carrying my child. She should be with me. I want to marry her and make her life better. I would even give her a green card, and your lives will change for good, and you will never remain poor again. Daniel said to them excitedly. Salma's mother was so happy. She screamed and danced. Oh, my God has remembered us. But her father did not really trust Daniel. For crying out loud, a man that could abandon a woman without even saying goodbye was not to be trusted. But then he looked at his daughter's swollen belly And he did not have any other choice because her staying at home, pregnant out of wedlock, was a thing of shame to the family. So he just reluctantly gave his blessing. So 1 month later, and Salma gave birth to a beautiful baby boy. And a few weeks after that, Salma flew out of Zanzibar with Daniel, believing that she was going to a better land, that her shame was behind her, and a new life awaited her. As she sat in the airplane, she was filled with so much hope, unknown to her that hope would die the moment that they landed. They landed in Texas, and the airport was so huge, bright, and beautiful. Salma had never seen anything like that all her life. And the ambience alone convinced Salma that Daniel was going to take her to a very beautiful home. But from the airport, they took a train, then a bus. Then they began to walk and walk and walk before they now entered a narrow street with broken houses and strange smells in the air. Where are we? Salma asked, looking very confused. My place, that is where we are, Daniel said as he unlocked a rusty gate. Salma simply stepped inside and froze. The house was small, dirty, dark. There were even rats running around her feet. Everywhere was looking so tattered. Salma was shocked. Then she turned to him and said, But, but, but I thought. Salma stammered as tears began to stream down her eyes. You thought what? Shebi, I told you I had a place. This is where I live, so get comfortable. Daniel replied. Salma sat down. She was speechless. That night she could not sleep. She stared at the ceiling. She was holding back tears. But when she woke up the next morning, she realized that she was not dreaming. No. This was her new reality. Daniel was not rich. As a matter of fact, he was jobless. He survived on government support and even borrowed money. So all that money that he was spending in Zanzibar, part of it was a loan that he had loaned from friends, and the other part was money that he had saved for months just so he could live like a king during the holidays. Salma was broken. She did not know what to do. And to make matters worse, no one in the neighborhood even greeted her. She could not even understand their accents. They were too fast. And the whole place was cold. And the food tasted like nothing. It was not what she was used to. Yet, Daniel still expected her to cook, clean, and take care of the baby every single day. And soon, Daniel began to show his true character. He started shouting at her. He would tell her that she's lazy. He would insult her anytime she asked for help. He would say things like, Is this how you women act? Is this how African women act? Why did I come back to that village to rescue you and marry you? You just want to eat food without working. What is wrong with you? Daniel would scream angrily at Salma. Salma was shocked. She had never seen this part of Daniel at all. And Daniel did not even provide for her and their son, no, because Salma still had to make ends meet. She was now doing laundry for strangers. She was cleaning people's houses just so she could buy diapers for her child. Sometimes they would even eat only bread and water before going to bed. Daniel was an irresponsible man. He would even disappear for hours and he would come back home smelling of alcohol. And to make matters worse, he soon started beating her, abusing her verbally and emotionally. Salma cried every night. She would carry her baby and speak to herself, saying, What did I do to myself? I left my home. I left Tanzania, Zanzibar for this nonsense. What kind of mistake did I make? I thought America is supposed to be beautiful, a land of opportunities, a land of dreams. How can I be living with rats? What have I done? Salma would say to herself, crying. But a few months later, and Salma had made some Tanzanian friends in the neighborhood who she would usually go and cry to each time Daniel maltreated her, and they would comfort her, asking her to be patient with him. One day, Salma asked Daniel for money to make her hair. Since she landed in the US, she had not even gone to a salon to make her hair. But instead of Daniel giving her money, he shouted at her and told her to go and cut her hair instead. Salma was now looking like a shadow of herself. She had lost all her beauty. She even began to regret why she came to the US. Because back at home in Tanzania, she lived a better life in her village than the one she was living in the US. In the US, she could not even afford to eat 2 square meals. She was living in a house infested with rats. But back in the village, she ate fresh meals. As a matter of fact, she could eat 6 times a day if she wanted. Back in Tanzania, the air was fresh. Everything was fresh. She was happy. Here in the US, everywhere was smelling wee wee. Where she was living, everywhere was tattered. And she began to wish that she could go back. But Salma lived with Daniel for 1 full year. And one day she could not take it any longer. One night, she made the decision that she was going back to Zanzibar. So 3 days later, with the help of her new Tanzanian friends, Auntie Rehema and another Tanzanian family who paid for her plane tickets, Salma boarded the flight back to Zanzibar. She was no longer the same girl that had left for the US. Instead, she came back to Zanzibar broken, exhausted, and filled with shame. When Salma stepped off the airplane, she felt the warm breeze of Zanzibar hit her skin. She closed her eyes and took a deep breath. It felt like freedom. Yes, she had no money, she had no job, she had no degree, but at least she was home. There was nothing like home. She was safe here and she knew it. Upon getting to her parents' house, they were not expecting her. She had not even told them that she was coming back home because she was so ashamed. But when she knocked at the door, her mother screamed and dropped the bowl that she was washing. Salma, Salma, what are you doing here? Then her father stepped out slowly, staring at her from head to toe. Her clothes were looking old and faded. Her lips were dry. She had lost that glow, that youthful glow that she had. But her mother hugged her tightly regardless. Her mother cried because from the way her daughter looked, she knew that she had been through hell. Meanwhile, her father could not even speak for a while. He just simply shook his head and walked back into the house. Salma sat down that night and told her mother everything that she had been through. How Daniel had lied and deceived her, telling her that he was very wealthy in the US, not knowing that he was a pauper living on government support. She told her mother about how he abused her, how they went to bed hungry sometimes, all the pain that she had to endure. Her mother wept and wept and just simply stared at her and said, My dear, you are back now. You will be fine. You are safe. You are home. There's nowhere like home. And Salma nodded, but deep inside, she was so ashamed of herself. A few days later, news of her return had spread round the village. Everyone knew that Salma was back. And 2 weeks after that, Salma had to go to the local market to help her mother sell her goods. And as she stood behind the table arranging her mother's goods, she heard someone call out her name, Salma. Then she turned around and lo and behold, it was Jabari, her boyfriend. But this was not the Jabari that she remembered. This one was tall, was confident, was wearing clean clothes, polished shoes, a gold wristwatch, looking like he had money. He was no longer timid. He looked strong and wise. And to crown it all, he was standing beside a beautiful car, his own car. And for the next few minutes, they just stared at each other. Selma was ashamed. She tried to cover it with a smile. But before she knew what was happening, she started crying. Then Jabari broke the silence and said, I heard you're back and I heard everything. But you do not need to be ashamed of yourself. It's okay, Jabari said kindly. But Salma simply bowed her head in shame. She wanted the ground to open up and swallow her. But then she replied Jabari and said, I'm sorry, Jabari. I didn't know better. I didn't know better. And I can see that you've done so well for yourself. I'm so sorry. Salma replied in shame. Then a few minutes later, a beautiful young lady joined Jabari by his side, then looked at him and said, Is this the Salma that you told me about? The young lady asked, referring to Salma. Salma was so ashamed of herself. She wanted the ground to open up and swallow her. But no way, she was there for it all. Jabari simply nodded and replied, yes, that is her. Then the woman smiled back and reached out her hand and shook Salma and then said, nice to finally meet you. I have heard so much about you. I'm Nuru, Jabari's fiancée, and our wedding is in 3 weeks. You should come. You should come. Nuru said, smiling. Salma was so sad. She didn't know what to do. She just smiled weakly and told Nuru, congratulations. Jabari, on the other hand, just nodded politely and told her, all right, Salma, take care of yourself. Then they got into their car and drove off. Salma stood there in the middle of the market, tears streaming down her eyes. The man that she had left had become everything that she wanted in life. He was now wealthy, he was rich, he was clean, he was attractive. But now he belonged to someone else. Everything about Salma had changed. She was no longer confident, and people no longer related with her with smiles. Instead, everywhere she went, she could feel that people were talking about her. Sometimes she would even hear them say things like, look at this one that went abroad and came back with nothing. She dumped Jabari and returned with a child and shame. Now look at the man that she dumped. One of the most richest men in our village. Maybe she thought that white men were the answer, white men were the prize. Now she has learnt the hard way. The villagers would gossip about her. But Salma did not respond to their gossip. She did not even have the strength to fight. She was tired, physically, emotionally, mentally. All she wanted now was just to survive one day as it comes. So every day, she started helping her mother at the market. Some days she would sell well, and other days she would return home without making any sales. Her father was still very upset with her. He did not even speak to her. He had not forgiven her for what she had done to their family name. Now, Salma had no friends. She was always on her own. But the hardest part of all the things that she had to face was the fact that her ex-boyfriend Jabari just lived a few blocks away from her house. So every time she passed his new and beautiful mansion, she felt a part of her heart break. She heard that Jabari had even opened a successful fish processing company, that he now even employed over 15 young men from their village. All the villagers respected him, and even the elders called him a true son of the soil. And his fiancée Nuru, that one was everything that Salma used to dream of becoming. Jabari sent her to school, and she became educated, confident, and loved. Sometimes Salma would even secretly watch them from a distance while they laughed and walked hand in hand, going to church together. But deep inside her, she was bleeding. She tried to move on, but she could not. Each night, she would lie beside her son, staring at the ceiling and asking God for forgiveness. She would keep on saying, if I could go back, if I could turn back the hands of time, I would never have left Jabari. I would never have left Zanzibar. Truly, the grass is not always greener on the other side, and a bird at hand is worth more than 10,000 birds in the bush. So while Salma continued to raise her son in peace and support her mother's business, no young man in the village ever asked for her hand in marriage because nobody wanted to marry her, especially after the shame that she had brought to her family and to the community. Meanwhile, Jabari and his wife Nuru lived happily ever after. Hi, besties. It's your favorite storyteller, Omalicha. Thank you so much for watching my story to the end. So I think in this story, there are a lot of moral lessons to take away, and I'd like to hear what moral lessons you learned from this story. But for me, I think I learned that life is not always greener on the other side. Look at Salma. She was thinking that the United States was where her breakthrough would be, the sweet baby girl life that she dreamt of having could only happen in the United States. But lo and behold, United States became a nightmare for her. And, Jabari, her boyfriend, did well in Tanzania and actually prospered in Tanzania. And that baby girl lifestyle that she was looking for, someone else, Nuru, came and enjoyed it, still in Tanzania, without ever traveling abroad. So please share your thoughts with me. What are the moral lessons that you learned from this story? And what do you think? Do you think that Salma deserved, all that she got, the disappointment and every other thing? I'd like to hear your thoughts. And please support your home girl, Omalicha, by subscribing to my channel, liking my videos, and sharing with your loved ones. So now, till I come your way again with more interesting stories,